Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I want to do a quick walk around video of this old Jeep TJ. When I first picked this up about 6 months ago, I knew that there was a bunch of things that I wanted to do to it, quite a few things that needed to be done. I found myself on YouTube watching pretty much any video that I could find, just trying to give me some ideas, some inspiration, walk around videos, product reviews, installations. It looked quite a bit different than it does today. And I actually do have some pictures of what it looked like the day I picked it up. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at those pictures. Check these out. Okay, so this is what it looked like when I first picked it up about 6 months ago. It was marketplace fine. I feel like I got a pretty good deal on it. What really drew me to this particular Jeep was the fact that it was stock, not modified. Kind of an open palette to do what I wanted to do to it. Also, I kind of figured if it wasn't modified, that most likely it hadn't been beat to death. Go ahead and take a look at what it looks like now. This is a 2000 Wrangler Sahara. It was originally sold in Canada, so it does have the factory daytime running lights. And I guess at some point when it made its way to the US, somebody swapped the dash cluster from kilometers per hour to miles per hour, because that's what's in there now. It was pretty much all original. Factory hardtop, factory fender flares, color matched, factory wheels. It actually even had the original factory Goodyear tire on the back. I tried to keep as much as the original stuff that I could, but a lot of it was just too far gone. So everything that I replaced pretty much couldn't be restored. One of the main things that I did to the body were the fenders. Both of the fenders were just completely rotted out. I was able to find a couple fenders on Marketplace and had them painted from a friend of mine, pretty cheap, replaced them myself. Worked out pretty good because the suspension was shot on this as well. So I did install a 2.5-inch rough country lift kit. So when I had the fenders off, that was the time to do the front lift kit. Made it quite a bit easier. I did do quite a bit to the front here, starting with the grill inserts. Something I saw, they were pretty cheap, probably about 30 bucks on Amazon. Kind of give it that JL look. They do have all the holes to let the air in, which gives you a good mounting point for lights and even a front-facing camera. So I do have Raptor style lights mounted on here. I put them on my Super Duty years ago, and I've just always loved them. So they were pretty easy to install on here, as well as the front-facing camera. The bumper is the original bumper. I did take the ends off. The grill guard there on the bumper, that's actually a JL grill guard. I picked that up on Marketplace for pretty cheap and modified it. I cut the bottom off, welded plates on, drilled holes in it, was able to mount it on the factory locations. I did do a video showing the installation of these aux beam 3.5-inch yellow lights. I bought some cheap Harbor Freight brackets and they work pretty good. They're wired in to the factory fog light switch and they work pretty well up here where I'm at with all this snow. Moving around to the side of the Jeep, like I said, I did replace the wheels and tires. Took advantage of a Black Friday deal. I was able to pick up a set of wheels, 15 by 8-inch wheels with a -19 offset. I really like how they kind of give it a little bit aggressive look, stick out a little bit farther. The fender flares are just cheap Crown OEM style fender flares. Like I said, I wanted to keep the factory tan flares, but they were just too far gone. There is still rust on the body in the typical spots, you know, here on the hinge, the door hinge, windshield door hinge, something that could be replaced or, you know, fixed at a later time. The mirrors are in rough shape. Here's a little bit more rust here on the door. So all in all, the tub's in pretty decent shape for its age. You know, going on 26 years now. So let's move around here to the back. So when I originally got this, the taillights had covers on them. The metal protective covers, and what had happened, looked like somebody maybe backed into it. They backed into something. That cover mounts over the taillight. Yeah, it protected the taillight, but it pushed the tub in just a little bit. Kind of chipped the paint. Ended up with a little rust spot there. I just sanded it out, primed it so it would stop rusting, and was able to find these corner guards for pretty cheap from Summit Racing. They were actually on clearance. They are aluminum and a much better option than the plastic ones that I've seen here and there. Here on the back I do have a reverse camera. Kind of a nice option to the TJ. I'm not sure that I'm happy with it sitting up there, but it kind of blends in. There really weren't too many options to put it back here on the spare tire carrier for the TJ. Plenty for the JKs, JLs. I mean, I could have modified something, but it was just as easy to screw it down there and be done with it. Moving around to this side, you can see about in the same shape as the other side. Like I said, the body's not in too bad a shape at all for its year. It is the factory hardtop, so it does have all the wiring, and it is plumbed for the windshield washer fluid, and it works great. Another thing that I did when I replaced the fenders was replace the windshield washer reservoir and new pumps in it, and all that works real good. Real happy with how all that worked out. Moving around to this side, you can see on the fenders, it is the same factory paint code. It's Desert Sand Pearl. However, with the sun fade from a 25-year-old Jeep, there is a difference. To be honest, it doesn't bother me. I'd rather have this than holes in my fender. There are a couple spots here on the hood. I don't know, little rust dings, chips, whatnot. Kind of my plan for that is to sand them down smooth, get some primer on them to stop the rust, and maybe put one of those black decals on it. Also, I absolutely love the color match hinges on the windshield and that, but with that rust, something's going to eventually have to be done before it just gets too out of hand. I was actually just considering replacing all the hinges with black hinges. I think it would kind of tie the whole black and tan look together. I don't know, anybody else have any thoughts on that? Let me know. The Jeep did have factory steps on both sides. They actually rotted off. Kind of funny. The passenger one day and the driver's side like 2 days later. The steps were actually welded to the frame. The frame itself had been repaired at some point. Judging by how much rust was on it when I got it, I'd say quite a few years ago. When I got under there to do the lift kit, I got rid of quite a bit of rust. And I sprayed BDS frame encapsulator. Seemed to work pretty good. I really haven't had it out but a couple times in the salt and snow this year. You can see by a little bit of salt in the tire. I did have it out the other day. All in all, I'm pretty happy with how far the Jeep's come in 6 months. By no means am I done. This is a budget project. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek here in the interior of the Jeep. It is a Sahara, so it's got the green and tan seats. Interior is pretty clean, you know, for the age. It is a 5-speed. I did extend the shifter out just a little bit, kind of make it easier for me to reach. And another thing was I extended the seat back. Got the seat extension brackets about 4 inches. Kind of keeps my knees out of the dash. I'm right at about 6 foot, and I was pretty crunched in this thing. I do have quite a bit, maybe too much, of the Bullet Point Mounting Solutions products. Pretty much a mount for everything, camera, phones. Works pretty good in here, pretty solid. Let's go ahead and show you guys what all the lights look like when they're turned on. The fog lights are just wired up to the factory switch, which makes it pretty easy. Let's go take a look. So that's what it looks like all lit up with the Raptor lights and the fog lights. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for now. Thanks for taking a look. See you next time.